I'm just sharing my personal experience of what happens when you drop your sense of self. At least that's what it seems like is happening. Could be something else. I'm not clinging to that idea. But so as I grew up, I think it's a normal process, in your early teens and your 20s, you start figuring out the world and you build up all these ideas of who you think you are and what people say you are and what you believe and what you stand for, what you fight for. And that's good. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. That's a good, healthy ego construction. And then in your 30s, in my 30s, I started realizing all those thoughts, all those beliefs, not all of them. It was a few at a time. I started noticing, well, some of these are getting in the way of just, they're causing problems. They're causing issues. Like if I think people are genuinely going to hell, I'm going to treat them differently than if I think everyone is equally the same in the eyes of God, if there is one. Anyway, you start questioning your beliefs, your identity, these structures that you've built. And for me, when I started questioning these things, they didn't hold up. And this person, this body, someone who in the past had a lot of trauma. And so I have intellectualized everything. I did not live from my heart. I did not feel, understand, have a normal level of empathy. I thought. I just thought. I could tell a story about something terrible that happened to me, and it was just completely intellectual. None of the feeling came through. Well, one of my counselors noticed and brought it up to me like, hey, you're just relaying this memory like a robot. You're not feeling it. I didn't know I was doing that. It was just how it was happening. Anyway, as I start reliving some past traumas and letting my body feel what happened and going through, I guess you could call a process of healing, some interesting things started to happen. I slowly was feeling more, thinking less, was able to understand that a lot of my beliefs were coping mechanisms and helping me hide so I didn't have to feel. And then I got into spirituality and I wanted to find this place of peace and transcendence. Not for the sake of truth, but because I didn't want to feel. I wanted to bypass feeling because I was suffering. In my suffering, I wanted my suffering to end. That's why I was drawn to spirituality. So I went on a quest for truth, as you could call it. And in this quest, I found the complete opposite of what I wanted, but exactly what I needed. I found that there is no way around feeling. We are having a human experience. Being spiritual is not being above feeling. The most spiritual thing you can do is be human and feel. So, I started feeling all the things that I've repressed, all the things that I've ignored. Because as I was searching for truth, that's what I got. The truth of the moment is this body needed to feel and release a long history of repressed emotions. So when it started, I thought I was getting worse, I was going crazy, and that maybe I just fell off the wagon. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't put this in words like I just did in the middle of it. I just thought I was losing my mind. Because not only was I feeling everything that I refused to feel because That's just what was happening. In that same year or two, my beliefs were just disappearing. I would analyze one and think, oh, it just doesn't make any sense, and it would just gone. Then the next one, then the next one. And as I was feeling and letting go of and forgiving, it was wild how many thought structures were attached to the fact that I didn't feel. So I didn't feel something, I stuffed it, and then I started believing something in its place. Usually not good. Like I was very hurt by my father as a young kid. So I stuffed it and didn't feel it and got angry, and then built this idea of like this pretty intense, stern God that needed me to be perfect. So became a Christian and started trying to figure out exactly what God wanted from me, how to live the perfect life. It's crazy. I thought I cared about God. I thought I was trying to be a better person. I was really just not. I was trying not to feel. 10 years later, I felt that pain that I ignored as a kid. And, I was young, so it makes sense that I didn't know how to feel it or move through something so intense. I felt it. God, maybe 20 years later. Numbers, whatever. Who knows how long ago. After feeling it, all those beliefs that went with that repressed emotion also came up and left. It's like the emotion was begging to be felt. It left. And then the meaning that I placed around my heart to guard that emotion from being felt, all of that left with it. So much was just disappearing that I didn't even know. I felt like I was just dying, like I was disappearing. But the truth is, what was disappearing was my false sense of self built in a world of thought. And what was opening and truly beginning to live was whatever this is, whatever I am without the thought of whatever I am. My heart opened. I started feeling things. I started having empathy. I started caring. My heart started breaking because of the way that I treated people. I started realizing, wow, I've been an asshole. And I didn't even notice. Yeah, talk about strained relationships. I was the strainer of the relationships. It's really hard to see yourself. It's harder to feel what you've caused others to feel, especially if it wasn't great. Oh, I took psychedelics once and I traded places with someone. It was like my consciousness went into their body and I felt the pain that I caused them in a specific conversation. That's hard. That was intense. Oh, what's my point here? My heart opened. My thoughts became less important. All those stern, strong beliefs that I had started unraveling. And this is the process, which has led to so much freedom. This is why I'm sharing this on YouTube. And it's what I call awakening, or part of it, enlightenment, because it makes the most sense to me, but also those are just words, and I know that everyone's experience is different. There is, I do think healing and emotional, feeling and letting go and forgiving, like that's not really awakening. But what happened to me is that process kept going. So now I've had moments where I actually feel like I blend in with nature or I become one with everything. And it's really weird and awesome. And the more of me that gets dismantled and disappears was just all ideas. None of it was real. None of it was true. That's the part that I think may be what people call awakening, or give it whatever word you want. That's what I'm sharing. That's what I want to keep talking about because I think it's important. So if you're joining me on this journey, thank you. I hope some of these stories and some of this honesty can be helpful to you in some way.